Happy Sunday, everybody. I thought it would be kind of fun to go live. I don't think there's anybody even on here right now because I didn't say I was going to do it. But as I was meal prepping, I thought it would be kind of fun to go live. So I'm about an hour into my meal prep and I have already finished roasting Brussels sprouts, baking my sweet potato, and then making my brown rice. All my chicken is cooked for my lunches. My breakfast is done, the chia yogurt that I'm making. I can post that recipe if you're on my Instagram. I have that available for you in the highlights. And then what else do I have done? I have my dinner, so I'm doing the zucchini lasagna, which is on the 3-day meal prep, actually in the oven baking right now, so that takes up quite a bit of time. And then I have my eggs going because I'm going to do like an avocado egg toast in the morning. I just don't have time to make the eggs, so I figured if I hard boil them, they'll be done earlier on. And now I'm going to start doing my stir fry because I'm just going to use my stovetop. So really meal prepping has become so vital for me in just maintaining my healthy diet. And I'm able to really get a lot more done if I learn how to multitask properly. So that's why I figured out kind of the sequencing of how I need a meal prep to then go on. I'm gonna go turn my music down really fast because it might be too loud. I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to do is just show you guys how easy it is. So I know the camera's kind of weird situated, but basically I'm just gonna add a ton of veggies. So I have carrots, I have bell peppers, I have broccoli, I have onion, and then I'm gonna top it off with some cilantro and green onion. And then I'm gonna put that over a bed of brown rice and then I made some turmeric chicken on top of that. So here we go. I'm just simply going to be chopping all these vegetables, and a couple things that I've learned over the years is basically how to make everything more efficient. So I'm gonna wash my hands because I just touched my remote control. Next time I'll warn you all when I'm gonna do this because it would be fun to have you guys have questions while I'm cooking, but you can watch it back. So carrots, I'm gonna use a mandolin because I can just quickly chop them essentially versus having to chop them all individually. You can also use a food processor. I don't really like using the food processor because I just don't want to get it out, honestly. And I figured out the mandolin does just as good. So with the stir fry, you're gonna do the carrots and onions first because they take the longest to cook. So that's why I like to get that part done first. And while I'm doing all of this, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the other food that I have going. So like I need to stop the eggs here in just a little bit. Carrots, let's talk about some health benefits. I'm sure you've heard about the vitamin A or a phytochemical called beta-carotene. And what that means is it's really helpful for a lot of different things in our body. So one of the biggest things I think most people can recognize is, and sorry I'm not looking at you guys, when I was in college, I was using a mandolin and I actually took a huge chunk out of my skin. So I am just paying attention because it's really sharp and I don't want to cut myself. But most commonly, vitamin A, people can identify it as a health benefit for your vision, which is great, but it actually does a lot of other things too. Like it helps with our skin and it helps with our immune health. And I think people only think of vitamin C when we're thinking about our immune health. So I have those cut. I'm just going to kind of push them off to the side here. Let's see if we can, oh no. I have my thing on a tripod. Sorry, this is a rookie mistake, I guess. I'm trying to see if you can see me chopping a little bit better, but I don't want it. All right, maybe that's a little bit better angle here. So push that off to the side. Again, trying to keep a clean space. When I was in college, my chef who taught us all these food classes was like the most adamant about that. So it was something that I learned. So at the end of meal prep, my kitchen is not a complete disaster. So we're gonna cut the onion now. And I'm making a smaller portion because one thing I noticed with meal prepping since I live by myself is that I would get bored really quickly with, sorry, my head's cropped off, but I want you to kind of see what I'm doing too. I would get really bored really quick with these different meal prep things that I made And so by, you know, the fourth time that I've had that meal, I don't want it anymore, so then I end up wasting food. So I learned that if I just make basically 3 servings, maximum 4, depending on what it is, I don't get tired of it. So I'm only gonna do 3 servings of this stir fry, because if not, I just get bored, and it would be easier if I had someone else to cook for, but it's just me. So now that I have that, I'm gonna start cooking this. So I'm gonna turn on my pan here. I'm also gonna multitask and cool off my eggs. I may have boiled them a little bit too long, but that's okay. I'm running cold water over them to stop the cooking process. Have that going. I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil, olive oil, whatever high cooking temperature oil you want to use, that's fine. So just a little bit of avocado oil. And then because I'm all about convenience, I have this really cool pre-squashed garlic that I'm going to use. And since I'm cooking for myself, I'll put a lot of garlic in because I love garlic. And back in the fridge. My brown rice is also back here in a rice cooker, and that's actually done, so I'm going to take it off the heat so it can start to cool down. One of the other things about meal prepping is making sure that you're cooling off your foods properly because of food safety reasons. So that's something a lot of people are not necessarily thinking about. I'm out of spatulas, so I need a clean one. I hope y'all are having a good Sunday. I've had a pretty good one. I did a lot of my grocery shopping last night, so that was nice, so I was ready to go. I just had to get a couple other things this morning. So I'm just waiting for this oil to get a little bit hot and start kind of cooking down that garlic. Went to church this morning. The service was really, really good. It's all about our mentality. And if you are kind of curious what that looks like, I go to the Rock Church here in San Diego, and oh, I think someone joined. Hi, Victoria. I'm just showing my stir fry, so kind of walking people through how easy it is to meal prep, because it can be really scary. So if you have any questions about meal prep, feel free to ask, and we can kind of get cooking together. So I can hear my, it's all starting to get too hot now, so I'm going to throw on my onion and my carrot. And this is where the multitasking really starts to begin, because now I'm going to start chopping my other veggies as this is cooking. So I'm just going to give this a quick stir so I can get that oil coated on the vegetables so it doesn't necessarily burn. This is, again, a really easy meal prep. So now I'm going to start cutting my bell peppers. Really easy meal prep that stays all week, because that's one thing I notice is that some of the recipes that I would make, they don't hold up throughout the week, or they're not good reheated. And this, I think, is great reheated. And you can kind of add your own flavorings. You can make it as spicy as you want. You can use a pre-made sauce, but you do want to be careful about that because it might be really high in added sugar. So we don't necessarily want that. So as this is going, again, I'm chopping my bell peppers here. Bell peppers are actually high in vitamin C, and that is one that people commonly don't think about. They commonly think about citrus food. But bell pepper actually has higher vitamin C than your traditional orange. And vitamin C, what most people realize, they recognize it as immune health, so making us not get sick, which is valid. But vitamin C also plays a role in skin collagen, so basically making skin, healing your skin. So if you have a wound, or let's say you got a scratch or something, vitamin C will help heal that and kind of rebuild that new skin because of collagen. So that's kind of a cool, fun thing for bell peppers. You can get any color you want. I personally prefer a lot of the colors, or I should say I prefer green and red just because I think they give a nice blend of the color. I don't want orange because I already have the orange carrots in there. And a lot more of this research is going towards the pigmentation of our vegetables and produce. So the more color you can get in your meals, the better off you are. So here we go. I'm just going to continue stirring this a little bit. And then I'll be adding my bell peppers in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start plating my, and I realized I should have probably gotten a yellow bell pepper because I have the green from the broccoli, but that's okay. So I'm gonna start pulling out my brown rice and plating it so it can start to cool. So I'll kind of bring this over here so you can see a little bit. I have a pretty small kitchen, so I have to work with the space that I have. And then always kind of keeping an eye. You got to learn how to multitask really well. I like to use a scooper, a measuring scoop, just for my brown rice so I can make sure that I'm getting the right quantity. So here I'm doing 1/3 of a cup, and I'm just going to place it inside. Again, this is going to help it cool off a little bit faster. So that's what we want because of food safety purposes. I don't want to keep this food hot for too long. So just plating it right in there. I have a little bit of extra. I made a little too much, so I'll just add just a tiny little bit to each of these bowls. And then we'll place it in the sink to get that cleared. So I can now add my bell peppers to my stir fry. And all of this, sorry if you can see my countertop there, it's really dirty. So it's such a good, easy way to get a lot of really delicious veggies in. So now I'm going to do my broccoli. You don't have to add any of these. You can use whatever vegetables that you do like. I just try to get a variety because they all offer a little bit different health benefits. So if you don't like broccoli, you can omit it. If you don't like bell peppers, you can omit it. That's the beautiful thing about stir fries. You can kind of just do whatever. You can also simplify this process by getting a pre-done package of stir fry, but I've just noticed that that costs more money, and I can also tailor the portion size to what I personally need because I'm only cooking for one person and sometimes those bags are too big. But it's kind of all about convenience. So if it's more convenient for you, I don't mind chopping because I know I have a lot of other things that I'm doing. So by getting a pre-packaged, yeah, I'll cut down time, but I'm also going to be spending more money and maybe getting vegetables that I don't necessarily want. Where this way, I am able to get the vegetables that I want, and then I can also cook it while I'm doing other things. So for me, I've just kind of learned that process, and it hasn't been too big of a deal. Okay, so I hope, Victoria, you're not asking questions because it's telling me to tap to invite the viewer to be in your podcast. I don't really know what that means because I've never done a Facebook Live from my phone before. So who knows? But there's a first for everything, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my broccoli. One other thing you could have added is water chestnuts. I was going to do that, but that means going back to the store, and I just figured I don't really need it that bad, so I decided to forego. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to season it, and I use coconut aminos. You can use soy sauce though. I would recommend a low sodium soy sauce though, because soy sauce is really high in sodium, and we don't necessarily want a ton of extra sodium. Depends on your diet, depends on your goals, if you're an athlete, if you sweat a lot, that sort of thing. But as you can see, this is really coming along quite nicely, pretty easy. So I'm just going to grab a couple of my seasonings really fast out of this cupboard. So for ease, I'm just adding ginger because I already added a bunch of garlic. And then this is going to be the coconut aminos. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of hot sauce, just to kind of kick it up a little bit. Again, this can be totally, you can do a pre-done sauce if you would like. You don't even have to add any. It can just be vegetables, however you choose to flavor it. I like this coconut aminos. I buy mine from Trader Joe's, but I think it's relatively popular anywhere. And I'm just going to give it kind of a quick sprinkle. And you're going to hear it just start to sizzle a little bit. That's good. That steam is going to help kind of start cooking the vegetables. Hi, Nika. So again, randomly kind of decided to go live. I'm going to add my ground ginger. You could add fresh ginger. I just don't use ginger enough, and then I end up wasting money because it goes rotten. So I always just use the dried ginger. So all I'm going to do is now stir this up. And look how, I don't know if you can see how beautiful, let's see, just like the color of the veggies, that's probably going to stain the camera. It's just incredible, and I love that so much. Now this part, because the soy sauce is in there, or the coconut aminos, it starts to kind of get a little bit burnt, so you have to work pretty quickly. And then I'm actually going to take it off the heat now, because it does get kind of stuck to your pan. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of hot sauce. I don't like it too spicy, but just to give it a little bit of a kick. I was making my cauliflower stir-fried rice, and my sister was like, oh my gosh, this is so hot. We didn't grow up with a lot of spice in our cooking meals when I was younger. So here we go. Again, I have a little bit more than what I probably need for 3 meals, but I also have like one night in dinner that I don't necessarily have prepared, so I can use it for that. And then I'm just going to finish it off with my green onion and cilantro. Again, it's off the heat at this point because of the sauces that we added to it. It can start to burn pretty quickly, so I am going to give it another stir because my pan is still hot. It's just the heat is off. This looks so good. It smells so good. I wish I could send the smell through the camera. Again, if you guys are asking questions or commenting on it, I don't see it, so I apologize. I'll see it afterwards, though, if you are, and I can address it. So I have my green onion, and then I'm going to get my cilantro. I know some people really hate cilantro. I personally love cilantro. You don't have to add cilantro. It just adds a really nice, fresh flavor, and it's really cheap, too. So we're just going to give that a good stir, and then I'm going to place that right into my lunch containers. So here we go. I'm also going to be making my zucchini, carrot, banana bread, which I did post on my Instagram. I can share on the Facebook group because I know maybe not all of you have that ability to see it. So I will post that because it's really good, and I like to have it for breakfast in the mornings. Again, easiest way for me to plate my food is just kind of getting this big, huge 1 cup. So this is a 1 cup serving of vegetables here. I'm just going to pour it right in. So here, and then I'm going to add my chicken to that later for my protein. So really colorful, really flavorful, really easy. I mean, I don't know, I don't see a timer on here, so I don't know how long I've been doing this, but you can see how easy the process is. And I have other items going for the week for meal prep as well. So I definitely overdid it, so I'm going to get another pan. I probably could do a 4th meal here of just the veggies, so I'm just going to do my leftovers in this other container here. And then what I did for my chicken was I used a new dressing from Trader Joe's, the turmeric chicken. So I did this in the sous vide, so I'm just simply going to honestly just place 2 chickens per container here. And then I have all of my components that I need for a well-balanced lunch. I have my veggies, I have my grain, I have my lean protein. So what you can see here is the finished product. So brown rice, my chicken, and then my vegetables. So again, thanks for joining those. I know, again, I didn't say that I was going to go live, and if you watch it back, if you have any questions that come up, feel free to comment on the video post, and I hope you all have a great Sunday, and I will share a picture of my final prep, because this is the first time I've done a full prep since summer, so since May, and I'm really excited. So thanks for joining those that were on, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.